Good day, Brigade. This is Bahbi coming at you with what would have been the July 4th episode, but July 5th will be fine. It's not like we're really going to be celebrating yesterday anyway, so. Anyways, you might be wondering what we're going to be covering here, and, well, that's part of the problems here, too, is what could we cover? I mean, it's not a matter of we're limited on ideas, it's a matter of which one's probably going to be the most important to mention first. I mean, we could go over the Constitution and the constant violations of it by the very institution that's meant to interpret it. We can go over the incredibly crushing economic pains and difficulties being further imposed by inactivity from both the legislative and executive branches due to party fighting. We could do a lot of other things too. We could cover the concept of theonomy even. If you're wondering what that is, it's basically that thing that's allowing for the religious takeover of our country right now. It's the ideology followed by people like Mike Pence in that. It's pretty fucked up and we're starting to see it firsthand. Anyways, there are a lot of things we can cover and go over on this particular episode, as you can clearly see, and, well, we honestly can't really pick between any of them, and at this point we're feeling it's probably far more important that we inform people that you should probably be preparing for some of the worst possibilities. Yeah. I'm not saying expect full-on war or anything. In fact, if you know this channel and have been following our podcast at all, you'd know that we believe it's probably going to end up more like the Irish Troubles, only in America, across 50 states. And there's a reason for that. It's because most American states, in spite what most people want to think through the electoral college concept, are not actually red or blue. Most of them are some blend of purple, usually being divided along rural and urban lines. Not always, but usually. So, to really say any state is red or blue is wildly inaccurate, and is only going to lead to some serious conflicts. And it sounds like Rosa wants to give her input on that. Yes, you do, don't you? But yeah. That's why it's probably going to end up more like a Troubles there. As for the Constitution, I guess the First Amendment barring the establishment or forbidding the practice thereof a free expression of religion doesn't exist to certain peoples, and there is now an entire political faction straight up attacking our system. This is not good. This is the point we find is no longer acceptable. And yeah. Fuck this shit. That's right. Fuck it in its fat fucking ass. No offense to fat ass, I like that very much, in fact. Just fuck this situation. So you might be wondering, okay, so what is the brigade gonna be doing? Well, this is probably where we first issue what we're going to be calling the orders. Keep in mind, we are not organizing into any sort of militant organization or anything like that. In fact, if anything, we are going to be becoming an aid organization. Now, what does that mean? Well, right now we're planning on gathering food, medical supplies, basic necessities, things like that people are undoubtedly going to need in a type of situation like this. Further, we're starting to get into exercise programs and such that will help improve our endurance, stamina, strength, and all that, so that we may be better able to help those who find themselves in terrible situations. In case you were wondering, there were 2 shootings that I know of for a fact that happened yesterday. It's a little bit random, but Mass shootings on the 4th of July, that's something we can come to expect on a yearly basis now. All because of the inability and inactivity of people wanting to work over what is clearly outdated ideas, and people who desire to refuse anything so long as it gives them a greater freedom of movement. Or freedom of anything. Unfortunately, this freedom, as they so call it, is nothing more than an uneducated anarchy that's being brought forth to cause a greater destruction to society as a whole. We're regressing back, and we are regressing back fast, and that is terrible. Also, a quick message to Pope Francis. Historically, I've actually kind of liked a lot of the decisions you've been making to reform the Catholic Church. Your support of overturning Roe v. Wade, you can go fuck yourself, Mr. Francis. Yeah, that's right, you're Mr. Francis now. Congratulations, you lost your title. I mean, it's not like we acknowledge the Catholic Church anyway, but... Sorry, Francis. You lost it. You lost our faith in you. And that's not just for Pope Francis, who has absolutely no goddamn control over the United States. That's also for the Supreme Court, which seems to be actively wanting to take down your rights. By the way, Justice Clarence Thomas suggested next we should go after things that protect same-sex marriage, protect the use of contraceptives, and protect your right to have sex with someone not being married. Yeah, they want to go after that shit too. Interestingly enough, there's another Supreme Court case in this that uses the same line of reasoning as all these arguments plus Roe v. Wade that Clarence Thomas isn't interested in going after, and that is interracial marriage. Apparently, there's some magical thing about interracial marriage that makes it work with this argument compared to literally everything else that was also argued in the same manner. Which, what the fuck, Clarence? What the fuck? You don't get to pick and choose law. And further, you don't get to tell people how they have to live their lives according to your religious doctrine. You can go home with that shit and get the fuck out. Last I knew, this country wasn't meant to be religious. We refused that idea. Many of the founding fathers themselves were deists. What's a deist, you might ask? Someone who believes in God, but doesn't believe that God really fucking cares for our individual daily affairs. So, it's kind of like the founding fathers thought, maybe a separation of church and state was a good idea, not so much due to the fact of religious takeover, but due to the fact that other people believe in different shit, and we should probably respect people's right to privacy on that shit. But, of course, we're talking about an institution that believes only privacy in everything for the elites, and is well on its way to creating the theocratic oligarchy it so desires. Things we have to take on? Landlords. Religious institutions now. God damn it. I was planning on leaving you guys be. We have to take on political establishment again. 2 major political parties. But here's the thing. And we're going to tell you right now, we do not condone violence on this. But we're going to tell you right now, they're only a hop, skip, and a jump from full-on revolutionary upheaval. And it's not a matter of, oh, the right's gonna go into revolution, or oh, the left's gonna go into revolution. No, it's gonna get to the point where everyone is just ultimately too dissatisfied with the system. Because it's not delivering what they want, and just taking away things from others. And at this point, that's all that can be said about it. People like to believe that we have a democratic system here in the American Union because, oh, you have 2 parties and you get to vote. But there's a funny thing about this. Those 2 parties have a large amount of control over who they select for their candidates. They have a large amount of control about whether or not to run multiple candidates. They have a large amount of control about what to do there once they get elected in their candidates. They use processes like gerrymandering and their weird-ass drawings and maps to maintain this power and carve out a balance of power between the 2. Every single one of these situations calls for eliminating the possibility of a third party at all costs. Additionally, when you have the natural tendency of Duverger's law due to the first past the post single vote electoral system we have, it makes it even harder. But right now, we don't have it's necessarily two-party system. We have a one-party system in which the party changes every so often, but the same result manages to happen in the end. This isn't a system that's sustainable. It's a system that's outdated, undemocratic, and ruins things further. We need to end electoral college. We need to bring forth a land value tax. We need to introduce the idea of cooperatives and destroy the joint stock corporation concept. People deserve to have their labor, people deserve to have their land, and people deserve to have their lives. And right now, the elites and the political parties have decided that that's not the case. So, here are the orders. First, what we're going to want to be doing is gathering as much medical equipment as we can. Why? Because that's going to be the shit that's going to be going away first and fastest. We can gather up food as well, but remember, that's got some shelf life to it, so it's not something we'd recommend right away unless you're getting like shelf-stable stuff. Second, you're going to want to get into a rigorous exercise program and start working on it hard. Now, right now, we've got an exercise program that might be a good start for you, or you might want to go with something else, because it's going to probably be better for your body type. Keep that in mind. Exercise and body type are important. So, for my example, I've been trying to do a 2.5 mile run every day, in addition to 100 push-ups, 150 sit-ups. We're going to be increasing those soon because we're starting to build past that point and start adding on a couple more sets of each. And recent injuries have been keeping us from running, but all the same, we're putting forth the effort that we can on that. And we encourage you to get as physically fit as you can because you're going to need it. Third, if you believe you're willing to stay here and help and deal with the troubles that are going to be inevitably happening, and you want to join up with us and actually do something and help, great, fantastic, we'd love to have you on board. First things first, we'd like it if you can accept the idea of cooperative individualism. What is that? Cooperative individualism is the idea of doing things for others in the interest of yourself. So, in other words, this is kind of where you get your American conception of what karma is. Doing good things in order to have good things happen to you. That's actually not the reason you should be doing good things, by the way. At least according to both Buddhism and Hinduism. That's not at all the reason. But we need to have this idea accepted so we can start to plant the idea of a more cooperative individualist style. Now, personally, I'd like to drop the idea of individualism as a whole. Realizing how deeply ingrained that is in an American culture, oh my god, you have no fucking idea, I'm willing to compromise at least to cooperative individualism. Because, well, it's probably the best kind of individualism. There are other individualisms out there, philosophically speaking, but this one is probably the best, most conducive, and works the most with our ideas. Fifth, we need to be able to accept and push forward an idea of ending the current system as it is. It is broken, it is flawed, it is outdated, and it needs a serious tune-up. So, you don't need to necessarily believe in the exact beliefs on what we believe on that, but the overall concept would be preferred, is that things need to change. But then again, if you didn't believe things need to be changed, why would you be here in the first place? Anywho, and number 6, Master any defensive means you can. Now, I'm not saying you need to be able to, get out and go get a gun or anything like that. God, no. What I'm saying is, you need to be able to be able to defend yourself if it comes absolutely necessary, or evade and escape danger if you can. So, that's where the exercise thing comes back into play, and why we recommend trying to do running and some basic strength training, so that you can be able to do such things. And our seventh and final part of the order, and this is probably the most important, is if you see danger, if you see someone being threatened, if you see harm coming towards people their way, do everything in your power to stop it. At this point, we cannot rely on law enforcement or anything like that. They have no interest in protecting the people, and Supreme Court rulings have even shown they don't have to. Which is why we had the situation in Uvalde, along the lines of other things that factored into that. But one of the big things there was the police are not obligated to protect. And that's where we differ. We are. And we are obligated to protect by our code. Because we will not let people get harmed if we can do something to prevent it. And if you happen to see someone harmed, and you can do something about it, this is where the medical equipment comes back into play. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a full-on medical doctor or anything like that, but a basic knowledge of first aid goes a very long way in being able to help someone get a few more minutes into getting into a hospital and getting serious help that they might need. First aid can play a huge factor in that. And that's where we want to start. So, if you think you have the guts, nerves, mettle, and willingness to do such a thing, you are more than willing to fly our flag. You are more than free, not more than willing, more than free to fly our flag and represent our interests. As for our flag, we will be trying to provide that as much as we can, as freely available. We will work on that and find a way, but you're free to fly our flag, and you should not harm others who fly the same flag, as they are of like mind. Now, I have my own personal ideological beliefs. If you go to the Ideology of the Month episode, Geoism, we definitely get a lot more into it. And if you're interested to know what our personal beliefs are, we highly encourage you to go there. I mean, if nothing else, you also learn more about new ideologies and beliefs. So, please, do check that out if you want to know more about my own personal beliefs and why I might be willing to do such a thing. If you want to keep helping out, that's great. Keep listening, share this with anyone you can, and try to help and get recruit towards people who are willing to also provide aid in otherwise horrible situations. Again, we are not trying to militarize. Keep that in mind. We do not want to be mobilized as a fighting force in any way, shape, or form. Our only means of fighting will be purely for defense. Otherwise, we seek to only help, aid, and assist those who are in immediate danger. And in this pursuit, please don't get yourself arrested or anything like that, because vigilantism is technically illegal. But at this point in time, we can no longer rely on the political institutions of the American Union to do what they should be doing. They're no longer interested, as they've been taken over by political groups with an agenda to oppress and destroy. These people can no longer be safely trusted. And that is why we are starting today to fully work towards a goal of building an organization dedicated to aiding and assisting those and educating them on the dire need for change of this political system and an emphasis on a peaceful means of doing so. Look, we're not perfect. This world's not perfect. This nation state's not perfect. But we don't have to actively turn ourselves to self-destruction and chaos and turning back the clock in order to recapture a nostalgia and an idea of an economy that no longer exists. We need to fight that at all costs. By the way, did you know the Supreme Court also limited tribal sovereignty? Which is why they can really go fuck themselves. Because the state of Oklahoma, or any state for that matter, should not have the right to enforce laws on tribal land. It is not your jurisdiction. 200 years of freaking law have told you that. The Indian nations are sovereign nations. Leave them alone. Yeah, so that's a bit of a sensitive spot for us too. But, anywho, if you like this and want to get a part of this, please do like and share, and in addition, you can also come and contact us regarding such things. You can either use it through our Facebook page or even leave a comment if this video ends up on like YouTube or something. And we will try to get back to you as soon as we can. We've got a rather busy couple weeks ahead of us. And this is part of the reason why we've been taking the break overall, is trying to get things resorted and put back into order before we go forward. And have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. As pleasant as it can be.